Mulibwanja po, hope you are doing fine. This is Mr. Philip Kaoma, the excellent biology tutor. So in this video, I am answering two questions for genetics. One is coming from a paper for GCEs, which is this one, a 2017 paper 2, which came in July. And the other one is a 2017 paper 2, which came in October for grade 12s. Without wasting much of your time, let us begin. So a pure breeding black bull, okay, was crossed with a pure breeding red cow. All the resulting offsprings were black. I'll read that again. A pure breeding black bull was crossed with a pure breeding red cow, and all the resulting offsprings were black. So, pure breed. What is a pure breed? A pure breed is simply an organism that has got a homozygous type of genotype. A pure breed is an organism that has a homozygous type of genotype. Now, a homozygous type of genotype is one where the alleles are the same. It's either the alleles are both dominant or the alleles are both recessive. That is a homozygous type of genotype. And an organism that has got this type of genotype is called a pure breed or homozygote. So already we know that these two organisms are pure breeds and they have a homozygous type of genotype. Okay, so a pure breeding black bull was crossed with a pure breeding red cow. By the way, a bull is simply a male cow. So don't think these are two different animals. It's a cow, but it's a male, so it's a bull. Okay, so all the resulting offsprings were what? Were black. What does that tell you? Well, for me, I'm able to tell to say black is dominant over red. Why? Because all the resulting offsprings were black. That simply means black was dominant over red. Because if you look at the statement, they are saying that all the resulting offsprings, all the children were black. So black is dominant over red. So that's the information that we have. Now let's go to the questions. Using letter B or using capital letter B or small letter b for alleles, which allele was dominant for skin color? Okay, so using capital letter B or small letter b for alleles, which allele was dominant for skin color? So if you look at this question, they are not asking us for the skin color. They are asking us for the allele. So which allele is dominant for skin color? So they are asking us for what? For an allele. And the answer to this question is B. B is an allele for a dominant. Capital letter B is an allele for a dominant for skin color. That's the answer. We already know a skin color which is dominant here, which is black. But they are not asking us for the skin color. They are simply asking us for an allele. Okay, I'll read the question again. Using letter B or B, so we're using what? Capital letter B or small letter b for alleles. Which allele was dominant for skin color? So capital letter B, because capital letters are alleles that are used to represent dominant genes. Okay, that's the answer for our first question. Let's look at question number B or letter B. Using a genetic diagram, show the result offspring if the offspring black bull was crossed with the parent red cow. I'll read the question again. Using a genetic diagram, show the resulting offsprings if the offspring black bull was crossed with the parent red cow. So, I want you to understand this question. They are asking us to draw a genetic diagram to show the results of the offsprings if the offspring black bull was crossed with the parent red cow. So going back to the first statement that we were given, they said that a pure breeding black bull was crossed with a pure breeding red cow. So when this pure breeding black bull was crossed with a pure breeding red cow, they had offsprings. Now, amongst those offsprings, one offspring is now being crossed with the parent red cow. Are you following? So we should use a genetic diagram to show the results of the new offsprings when the first offspring is crossed with the parent red cow. Now, for you, before you even draw the genetic diagram, you need to know the genotype of the offspring. So when a pure breeding black bull is crossed with a pure breeding red cow, what will be the genotype for the offspring? Let's find out. So it is a pure breeding black bull, isn't it? And this pure breed, it is a pure breed, meaning it has got a homozygous type of genotype. And since black is dominant, we're going to use capital letter B for its genotype. So the genotype for the pure breeding black bull will therefore be this. This is the genotype for the pure breeding black bull. Capital letter B, capital letter B. Looking at the genotype, it's a homozygous type of genotype because the alleles are the same. In this case, they are both dominant. So when this pure breeding black bull was crossed with a pure breeding red cow, all the resulting offsprings were what? Were black, isn't it? Now, what is the genotype for the parent red cow? The parent red cow is first of all a pure breed also. And since red is recessive in this case, we are going to use small letter b because small letters are used to represent recessive, genes. So therefore, the genotype for this pure breeding red cow will be this. Okay, so these are the two genotypes that we have. This is for the pure breeding black bull. This is for the pure breeding red cow. Obviously, the results will be the same if I cross. Okay, so when I cross this capital letter B with this small letter b, these will be my results. And it will be the same with when I continue crossing. It will be the same. All the offsprings will have this genotype. That is why the question is saying all the resulting offsprings were black, because this genotype here is simply for black. You can see that capital letter B is for black and it is dominant over small letter b, which is for red. So the phenotype of this offspring is black. So this is the genotype that we are going to use when answering question B. This is the genotype for the offspring black bull. Capital letter B and small letter b. So we have now discovered the genotype for the offspring black bull. And this offspring black bull is crossing with what? It is crossing with a parent red cow. So it's crossing with a parent red cow. So we're going to use this genotype and this genotype in our new genetic diagram. So do not get confused with these questions. We were simply trying to discover the genotype for the offspring, okay, for the offspring black bull, which is being crossed with a parent red cow. All right, let's now draw our genetic diagram. So what's the answer for question B? Check the diagram below. So that is our answer. Let me run you through this drawing here. So we've got parent phenotype, which is black, okay, black and red. Remember the black parent, it is the offspring, okay, it is the offspring black bull, so it's black. Then the parent red cow is also a parent in this genetic diagram. So we've got black and red, okay, and then parent genotype, the one we're from discovering, capital letter B, small letter b, crossing with small letter b, which is for the parent red cow. And then you just bring them down as gametes. After that, what do? You cross them. When you cross them, we've got the results. We've got the offspring genotype there, as you can see. And then we've got the offspring phenotypes. So when we cross the offspring black bull with the parent red cow, we are going to have 2 black offsprings and 2 red offsprings. Those will be the results, okay? So that's the answer to question B. Please, if you haven't understood, leave your questions in the comment section. I will really appreciate. I'll respond to them. And if you're liking the video, please like it and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so. Alright, so those are the answers for this question which came in 2017 paper 2 July Nziyama GCE. Let's look at another question for 2017 paper 2 for internals for the grade 12s. Okay. Mrs. Mumba delivered a baby girl in a certain hospital. Mrs. Mumba is blood group O and the father to the girl is blood group AB. Okay. Mrs. Mumba sues the hospital for giving her a wrong baby whose blood group was O. Question A. Explain using a genetic diagram why Mrs. Mumba would win or lose the case. So when you look at the question, they are saying that, oh, there was this woman who delivered a baby girl. This baby girl was blood group O, okay? That was the blood group for this baby girl. And the mother to this baby girl was also blood group O. But the father to this baby girl was blood group AB. Now, Mrs. Mumba is an educated woman. She sued the hospital for giving her a wrong baby, okay? And then we are tasked to draw a genetic diagram which is going to help us to know if Mrs. Mumba would win or lose this case, okay? Because she has a complaint and she has sued the hospital. So we're going to use a genetic diagram to prove whether she's going to win or lose the case. Now, what you need to know about blood groups is that there are 4 blood groups. We've got blood group A, blood group B, blood group O, and blood group AB. Now, blood group A and blood group B, okay, blood group A and blood group B, these are dominant over blood group O. Blood group O is recessive when it is in the presence of blood group A and blood group B. Okay, we need to know that. And then what else do we need to know? We need to know that when you're drawing an allele, or when you're writing an allele for blood groups, you use I, capital letter I, then on top you write the blood group. So this is an allele for blood group A. Okay, this is an allele for blood group A. If you're going to say an allele for blood group O, going to put a O as a power. So you use capital letter I whenever you are writing the alleles for blood groups. You use capital letter I. So we know that blood group A and blood group B are dominant over blood group O. So now let's draw a genetic diagram to show or to prove whether Mrs. Mumba would win or lose the case. So this is our genetic diagram here. Parent phenotype. So we've got the father who is blood group AB and the mother who is Mrs. Mumba and she's blood group O. What are the genotypes? What are the parent genotypes? So the genotype for AB, it is capital letter I to the power capital letter A, capital letter I to the power capital letter B. That is the genotype for AB. Then the genotype for O, it's capital letter I to the power O, capital letter I to the power O. That is the genotype for O. Okay. Then the gametes, just bring the same letters down, you just put them in circles, then you cross. If you check the notes, I already gave you, or if you watched the tutorial videos for genetics, I already gave you the genotypes for all the blood groups. So you need to watch that video for you to be able to understand where we are getting these genotypes. Okay. Otherwise, these genotypes are already known. You just have to know to say, oh, the genotype for AB, it's this one. The genotype for A, it's this one and this one, because for blood group A and blood group B, there are 2 types of genotypes. There's the homozygous type of genotype and the heterozygous type of genotype. But I won't go into that because I already did that in the tutorial videos. Alright, so gametes, you just bring them down, put them in circles, then you do the crossing. Once you are done with the crossing, you are going to have the results there, as you can see. So offspring genotype, those are the results. Then offspring phenotype, we've got A, B, B. So what is our conclusion here? Mrs. Mumba would win the case, because if you look at the possibilities or the results of this crossing, there is no offspring that has got blood group O. So Mrs. Mumba was right. She has the right to sue the hospital because the hospital gave her the wrong baby, because it's not possible for her to have a child who is blood group O if her husband is blood group AB, because A and B are dominant over O. So if O is in the presence of A, or O is in the presence of B, then it's not possible for O to be expressed in the phenotype. Instead, it will be A or B. Okay, as you can see. So in this case, you can see that O is in the presence of the allele for A, isn't it? But we're saying this is blood group A because A is dominant over O. Likewise, O is in the presence of B, and B is dominant over O. Therefore, this is blood group B. So O is recessive when it is in the presence of A or B. It is only going to be shown or expressed in the phenotype if it is alone, like in this case, O. They are both alleles for O. That's when it will be expressed to say, oh, this is blood group O. Otherwise, Mrs. Mumba would win the case. Now, our final question. What could have been the correct genotype of the actual father? What could have been the correct genotype for the actual father? It's either the father was blood group A, okay, or blood group B, or blood group O. Now, like I said that when it comes to blood group A and B, there are two types of blood group A and B. There is A homozygous and A heterozygous. Then there's there's B homozygous and B heterozygous. So if the father was A heterozygous or B heterozygous or blood group O, then he could have a child who is blood group O with Mrs. Mumba. So what am I saying? If the father was blood group A heterozygous, this is A heterozygous. There is an allele which is for O. This allele can cross with one of these alleles, and we can have an offspring that has got blood group O, because this allele plus this allele will form a blood group which is blood group O. Are you following? Likewise, if this father was blood group B heterozygous, meaning this, again, this allele for O can cross with one of the alleles for Mrs. Mumba, and we can have a child who is blood group O. Okay, so this is blood group B heterozygous, because we've got one allele which is dominant, another allele which is recessive, and that's heterozygous. Again, if this father was blood group O, then if the alleles cross with those for Mrs. Mumba, then we are going to have an offspring that has got blood group O again. Okay, so those are the possible genotypes for the actual father of the child: blood group A heterozygous, blood group B heterozygous, or blood group O. So those are the answers to these questions. All right, my excellent biology students, hope you have enjoyed this video. If you've got questions, please feel free to ask. Feel free to ask before you write your exams. Genetics always comes. Okay, so this is a series. Yesterday you already watched the one for 2016. This is for 2017. Then there'll be another one for 2018. So yeah, hope you are enjoying these videos, and I hope they are helping you. This has been Mr. Philip Kauma, the excellent biology tutor. Stay blessed.